not going to ask the question yet. I want to know, though, when the appropriate time to ask the question is. Again, let's specify.
Wait,
I'm not asking it yet. I want to know when.
But when do we ask this question that you're asking now? Is today the appropriate question to ask the question about whether to ask the question?
Let's not make it harder than what it is. Let's stick with what it is. I mean, you're 500 right now.
So which question are you wondering if it's okay to question whether or not you can ask the question?
You know damn well what question I'm wondering when to ask. I want to know when. I want to know when. I don't want to know if. It's not an if yet. That is the question. The if is the question. When, though?
Wait, now you're questioning whether we can ask the if?
I want to know when we can ask the if. Yes.
Who's on first? Third base. I don't know which question you're trying to ask.
You know exactly what question I'm thinking of.
I don't.
Owen knew exactly.
I have no idea.
I know what question. But what I want to know
stop acting stupid, Tone.
When do you get the answers? And do the answers come today or tomorrow? Because if today's answers are today's answers, but tomorrow's answers are tomorrow's answers, what are the answers from this weekend?
Wait, hold on.
The answers from this weekend you don't want to hear.
When you start thinking you have all the answers, you know what's going to happen.
Yes, yeah. Yes. That's what happens. That's the world of the slippery wizard. But I think it's got to be asked at this level, Tone. When do we ask it? When do we ask it? Because there have been seasons in the years past where there have been some people shooting their mouths off, and they've been just fine. I don't know if they're just fine. It doesn't look like they're just fine at all. The pitching is trying to do its best, man. What else can you do? There's only so much you can do. My voice just cracked. There's only so much you can do. The pitching is doing is. I know that Luis Ortiz got firebombed yesterday. I understand that, but I mean the pitching has been for the most part pretty sturdy. The offense is just atrocious. It's just atrocious in every single way.
But they scored 4 runs in the last 5 losses.
It's a labor. It is a laborious deal, man. So I can't ask if. I want to know when I can ask if. 216-474-0092. What is the criteria of when I can ask if? You know what the if is. Do I have to actually come out and say
I honestly don't. I don't know which question.
You really don't know the if?
What, do you ask if the season's over?
There you go.
Oh, well, they're still in the wild card, so the season can't. I mean, just by
and that's why. Yeah, so I said now's not the appropriate time. Yeah, I want to know.
It's clearly not the end of the. I mean, this team obviously doesn't look magical. They don't look like they could be a team that can make this huge run. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I said I thought it could just because of the pitching. They don't look like that. I mean, their lineup is just nowhere near. They're in the bottom. This was before this weekend. They were in the bottom quarter in almost every offensive category. So where would this offense even come? Are they going to make the call ups? Are they going to go that route? That's a big desperate move.
Well, there you go.
That I think everybody would be in favor of now.
So it's a bad weekend, and I mean people are asking some big time questions about this franchise on the internet over the weekend. Now it's only the internet over the weekend, so who knows what's real life? But people asking some big time questions about this team over the weekend about it being a franchise that is ever going to put something around Jose Ramirez, the seriousness of the franchise, things like that. I'll get to that here in a second. I just want to know because they're a game out of the wild card, so they're still in the wild card, in the hunt for it. I think the adjustments have to be made of what our expectations were at the beginning of the year. What were most people's expectations? Did they think that it was to go back to the ALCS?
Well, clearly get back to the playoffs. You want because they got to the ALCS last year. Most people that are diehard baseball fans know it's kind of a crapshoot in the playoffs anyway. But yeah, once you get a taste of it, you want to get right back there.
So is it enough to just make the postseason for this year's club now? Well, considering everything, is it enough?
Just seeing how they're playing, just seeing how inept they are, how bad their lineup is, just how outmatched they are, almost game in and game out. I don't think anybody would today think they're going to make a big run, but baseball is the one sport where you really can at times throw out a lot of what we know about all this stuff the whole year. But I don't think anybody's sitting there betting on it right now.
No, I don't think they are. So that's why I asked the question. That's all I asked the question about was when can I ask the if? And I think the if is still a little bit away But I think we're getting closer to it because this weekend was just an abomination of everything. And now, I mean, let's call it what it is. You are struggling to keep your head above water for the entire season for your own fan base. Because if you look at where their schedule is, first off, you have these games that start at 10 o'clock at night at the beginning of the weekend. You're losing these games. You're not exciting on the offensive end. I think there's a lot of people that are losing whatever faith they had in the organization throughout the year. You're still on the road. You're still in the faraway land for the next week. So you at least play 2 games at a reasonable time for most people I'm talking to right now at 4:05, both on Thursday and on Sunday. The rest is 9:45 against San Francisco, 10:05 against the A's over in Sacramento. And then that's where it is. Like, we have to understand, like, there is a longevity to the season of keeping people's attention, keeping people focused on your team, and not just making it all in all bad. And when you've lost 3 in a row, and really what have you lost? 5 of 6? Yes, 5 of 6 to Cincinnati and Seattle. And then before that, even to Houston, not even very good. I mean, you got some problems here. And the problems need to be addressed. I just don't know when they can address. The problems need to be addressed, but they can't really be addressed until the postseason. In all solidarity, because if you want to bring guys up, I guess you can bring guys up, but I don't know how much that's going to address things. And you're playing again in this faraway land at 10 o'clock at night during the night, and I think people wake up. And I told you last week, I mean, getting ready for that second Cincinnati game, that Tuesday Cincinnati game, after they had lost 3 in a row between the New York Yankees and the Houston Astros, and then you lose that first one against Cincinnati. I tell you, it was a bit of a chore to go, okay, here we go. It's 6:40. It's time for Guardians baseball. The 1 o'clock game that they won, I mean, they lost 1-0 in that game, so it became even more of a chore than you realize. The getaway game that they won 11-2, that was fun. That was great. Nice middle of the day. You're going to be able to get up for that anyway. But then when you go on the road like this, a big, long West Coast swing in the middle of the summer, I mean, we got to understand, folks, this is a pivotal moment for this season here about whether people are still going to be in or still going to be out. Or excuse me, still going to be in, or they're going to start to bow out in terms of grabbing people's attention. Well, I don't mean to confuse you to start the show. I didn't mean to be confusing or too.
Well, do you think I'm being?
Because I don't want to admit that the season may be over. I don't want to sit there and say those things. So I tend to be a little bit.
Do you think I'm being too literal in saying that? Well, they're in the wild card, so by definition, the season can't be over.
No, you can be as literal as you want, because I think that now is the time to be literal.
We knew going into the weekend too. The one saving grace for the team was that Quan and Jose, were just unbelievable at the plate. But yet they still weren't scoring runs. So then you wonder,
got 7 more guys in the lineup. It's hard.
Then you wonder what happens if they struggle at all. And I know Quan had a home run in the series, but between him and Jose, you weren't getting on base at the top of the order.
The only problem with they're in the wild card is everybody's in the wild card right now, except for the White Sox and the A's. I mean, Baltimore's 6 out, and then everybody else is 3 out or less.
Yeah, big time parity.
That doesn't make me feel any better at all.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not. And then you have to put it into the trade deadlines at the end of next month. You got 6 weeks until that happens.
Well, the trade deadline's sooner than you think when everybody else is making trades.
Well, yeah, the Red Sox have traded someone away. They traded Rafael Devers away. So
right.
And of course, I imagine you'll see him tomorrow night. He's going to San Francisco, so I imagine he's going to be in the lineup tomorrow night. This isn't good. And I think that comes down to the spirit of it. If you think that the team is serious, because now, like Lima says, or like Owen, you just kind of said, saying that they're in the wild card, everybody's kind of in the wild card. So is that really specifying anything? And you're not going to make any trades at this juncture. You probably weren't going to anyway, but at this juncture, you're not going to make any trades to add on to your franchise, add on to your roster.
Really I don't think they're trading to add at all. I'm just saying, look out, trades are starting, and we could be deleting players before we know it.
What do I have left to give up?
The guy that blew the save the other night.
Oh, God. I said that earlier this year, and I got killed for it, so.
What?
But if you're looking to try to stay in the wild card hunt, and you got a guy like Cade Smith sitting there, don't you start to look to move pieces that maybe you can still be competitive?
Yeah, but and you could get something back for him. Of course, that contract is still a little bit, because he only does one thing. He's a closer. So that contract can be a little bit sketchy to try to move. Walters is out until next year now, like mid into next year, isn't it? Like 8 months?
Like that,
yeah. So Walters is out until next year. And I got Cade Smith there. You're right. But even that's been, he's up and down a little bit this year, but I still have a lot of faith in the Canadian. I guess you have that one you can move. Everybody else, it's like, well, why do I want to move on from this guy for? There's a lot of young guys that I don't really want to move on with. So yeah, you're in a tough spot. And to say that, and Owen highlights it in so many ways. If I say or you say that they're still in the wild card, am I denying myself the truth? Am I just not wanting to see what the truth of it is? Am I denying reality?
I mean, I think we all understand it's not a very good baseball team right now. What are they?
No.
6 and
they're terrible.
6 and 13 in their last 19.
They were 3-9 for the last 4 series.
That's not good.
And it's not to mention,
bad.
we don't know. We're a manager. We have a manager that's in his second year, so we just don't know a ton. It's not like we're like, oh, a Stephen Vogt coach team, managed team. Like, this is what we know about them. We don't know that. We know that last year they got off to the great start, which was awesome. That gave them a really nice buffer, a way to keep everybody not only engaged, but there's credibility there.
Had to make a season comeback yet.
Yeah, now this is totally different. Now, just given where they're at, how the team is playing, I imagine the clubhouse right now they could be teetering, because that's what happens in situations like this, especially for a team that's had success.
You're highlighting it now. There's no real plan. There's hope. What do you bring in? What do you do? It's just hope that everybody else kind of falls with you. And should I be mad? Because I remember David Sampson said, well, this is where they start to fall back. They've been playing over their heads. This is where they kind of fall back to reality. And I think some other people have kind of said the same thing as well. Like, is this kind of what they are, where they're a 500 or sub 500 team? Remember, with the lack of moves that they made or the guys that they traded away, if we asked our preseason predictions, it was around the same thing I predicted last year. And it was just, last year was almost like you were trying to be nice. Like, all right, 82 and 80 coming off the year. We'll see where it goes. And then it ended up being better than that. That's great. But with the moves that they had to make during this offseason, because everything we talked about over and over and over again with money, it seemed like, okay, 82 and 80, trying to be nice, keep our heads above water, and we'll see where it goes from there. But, you can't count this team out. That's what everybody says. You can't cut this team out, because none of us want to shoot our mouths off and say something bad and then have to eat it at the end of the year. But, man, if you're saying, and I'd rather go with, like, nice round numbers instead of 19 or 15 games or whatever. You just know in their last few weeks, it's just not been good. It's been inconsistent. They've booted balls around. I got Stephen Vogt showing a little bit of frustration here with what's gone on over the last few weeks, and guys not playing their same way of baseball, guys not paying as close of attention to it. It seems that the swoon has come on in this month, and I don't think there's a bailout coming to you. I don't think that there is. So this is kind of what you deal with, and it's unfortunate. And I hope that they can get this thing turned around, started tomorrow night, because I think you are in a critical moment for your fans' faith, your fans' attention, all those things we've talked about so many times over, and that they have really 9 out of 10 seasons have been able to correct you on. They've been able to get going, get the offense going, get something in their direction in the right way, and then be able to take advantage and take off. So you're in a critical